Hey everybody. So in this video, I'm just going to show my recommendation on starting out with design. We're also going to cover some principles and things of that nature. So normally what I start out with is a long column like this, and I'll show you what I've done here. So you'll see here I have a width of 1500. Now I know when I stay in class about 1330 by 400 or 1440, but if I were to do this arrow here, I am within the realm. I just like having a little leeway here. So we have an understanding of what happens if it's not perfectly that. But what I do here is about 1500. I do height as 100 and I create a frame, create a section right there. All right. I'm going to name this homepage. Now my grid column setup is this. Width 100, my gutter is at 20, count is 12. Makes it simple and it's centered. It's not left or right because you can see I don't want it. I want it centered because most websites are. All right, from here, what I make sure I do is I perfectly lay this out. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do this here, and this is going to be my logo. So 340 by 65. And I want to make sure, I'm going to zoom in here, and that is perfectly 3 columns deep. Perfect. Now, if you're not sure if it's actually in the, you can actually click and hold. I'm holding down shift as well and moving. So I know that is perfectly centered. Even if I click that, I can click the top or I can click over here and center it that way as well. There we go. Perfectly centered. Boom. Next step is navigation. So what I'm going to do here is just type in a text box. I'm going to hit home, news, culture, art, shop, who we are, and contact. Now this navigation is kind of what I normally do in a placeholder. I actually create a simple text box and then I usually outline out. So 1, 2, let me get rid of that. So I'm about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I will copy this and I usually just stick with one box for the meantime. But this way I know it's perfectly centered out. Now, when it comes to navigation, you can align it this route, and it is okay if it's in the gutter. My recommendation is line it up to this, and you grow outwards. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to choose this guy. That way, any more, so say if I wanted news, I can copy, paste another one. I can say, instead of news, I can say like politics, paste. And that way it never goes off beat. Right now I am off-centered here, so let's fix that. Fundamentals, make sure your box aligns. All right, and to make sure that's centered, I'm hitting the centered and is centered with my possible logo, which I should just change into a color so I know to change that later. There we go. Followed by what will be navigate, like simple little notes, but these here will act as, for now, my social media or login or shopping cart. But one way or another, these are going to be. I'm going to select these. Looks like they're all perfectly aligned. I'm going to zoom in. Looks good. And then to make sure they are centered, I'm going to hit that centered. So as you can see, our navigation is coming into play. I'm going to select this, and I'm not huge on the 100%. So I'm actually going to choose all 7s. Now let's go ahead and let's take a look. I'm going to choose homepage, and then I'm going to hide. All right, pretty clean, pretty simple, and to the point. Now what I'm trying to get at here is you want to make sure this is perfect. When you are done and when it is perfect, you then can scroll down and make it. But as you can see, I'm having some issues here, but that's okay. We can address that later. So right now I can choose on this. Let me just unselect. Let me bring this guy up. I don't know why that's actually holding on and these aren't. It's kind of bizarre. But now I'm going to change the height to about, say, 800. I'm going to bring these back up because they should not be there. There we go. I can address the positioning later. But now this is where I would set up my banner. And so throwing it back on the grid, my banner can actually exceed outward. What that means is I can then move my banner outside the lines, and that's perfectly fine. So for instance, I'm going to do all green here just so we can have an idea. And I'm going to do text. Use outlet. I'm going to center my text. And I'm not going to use enter. I'm actually going to use Roboto. And then here I'm going to do this and make sure this is all perfect. So I'm going to center this. Perfect. And it's okay if this is in. You can also align it if you like. And now for this is just fundamentals. Normally in the web, it would look like this, but I'm okay with basic fundamentals as long as the text box aligns with the grid. I'm just going to copy and paste, bring down. News outlet. Let me just. As you see, I'm not focusing on any part of any other design. I am strictly focusing on one part, and that is making sure this banner design is where I want it. So I'm going to shrink this down. Shrink this down, say 72, 73, 72. And this would be a photo. And then I'm going to create a button here. And since I already have text there, I'm just going to copy and paste. And bring this down as well. I'm holding down Shift to quickly change all that. Sign up here. I'm actually going to bring this above. And I'm going to choose this button. Now you can use, normally I'm just doing the colors just to make this work like this, but sign up here. There we go. And so on. Now, once this is done, you move into the next realm and so on and so forth. So this here is just to show you, this is honestly my recommendation. Focus on the top and work your way down. It's going to be the best route to do. And as you work section by section, slowly, you'll realize that you can copy and paste certain elements for future designs, and it will help your workflow be a lot faster. There are going to be, it is a weird habit to just quickly just expand, and go. But I recommend this, and I highly recommend this, okay? Do not just move around and quickly do it. Just take your time, focus on one section at a time, and when those sections are perfect, then you move on to the next, and the next, and the next. So if you have any questions, just let me know, and we can go from there. Otherwise, take care.